Blasphemous! Oh, whoa, what do we got? What's going on, you little squandrels, you? Welcome back to the third installment of Unfiltered. Woo! Welcome back, ladies and gents. I got one quick thing before we get to the man that I've been dreaming of since I was a little fetus. Woo! I gotta apologize. Last weekend, I got my lock of the week right in the Minnesota game. But other than that, I was atrocious. So, this weekend I contemplated at different moments, do I put some bleach in the Keurig? Do I eat some Tide Pods? It is what it is. Somehow I came back for you little freaks. But here's where I need to level with y'all for a minute. I lost. Bad. And, like I said, Tide Pods jumping out the window. I tried a lot of different methods. For some reason, I'm still here. But it is what it is. So what y'all have to do, as soon as I finish talking about this, I lost. What happens when I lose? You little freaks go down to the comment section and comment what I have to do and what has to be videoed for all y'all to get a little nubby. Woo! So, like I said, I lost. It is what it is, but we're here with Will Shipley. When I did the interview, I was hairy, now I'm hairless. So in 3, 2, woo! We are live in the Profit Advisory Group studio. We got a nice new little banner to join that wall with the class of 2021, nation's #1 all-purpose back, Will Shipley, 5-star, man out of water. If his name doesn't ring a bell, some of the big schools may. Clemson, Ohio State, Stanford, Wisconsin, the list goes on. And if those numbers aren't enough, okay, his sophomore season ran for over 1,400 yards. He had 19 touchdowns. Through the air, he had over 390 yards receiving. He had 6 touchdowns and a state title this year, undefeated. In 11 games in the regular season, he ran for 1,099 yards and 17 scores. Through the air, 370, 7 touchdowns. Well on their way to another berth at the state title. Will, it's a pleasure to have you on, man.
Oh, yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So, dude, before we get into football, a lot of people, including myself, really only know you as, the best thing on a football field since water was invented, right? And so, what do you want people to know about you outside of football?
Yeah, I'd like my reputation to be a humble, hardworking guy in the classroom. Someone who's very family-based. Religion plays a huge part in my life. So just really those things. Having God in my life, my family, and academics. Those are 3 things that are on my priorities.
So before we talk about your future, right now you guys have not lost a football game since September of last year.
Yes, sir.
You won a state title. Right now you're 13-0. Are you you advanced into the quarterfinals of the playoffs?
Yes, sir.
Last year you lost so many players, including your brother, your quarterback. How is it possible that you guys were able to be so good? And this year, statistically speaking, you guys are even better. How is that possible?
Yeah, I think it just really goes to show how good the culture is at Weddington. Coach Capone's done such a great job since he came in as the head coach. Coach Carson, left him with a good hand.
Right.
But just the people we have on our football team, the hard work, determination, all the off-season work. It's really just come together during the season, and all our brothers we're bonding together, and we're playing good on Friday nights.
So in the regular season, you guys gave up 63 points on the year, and 33 points were given up in the first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
How does something like that happen? Because over 9 games, you give up 30 points. Who are the key players on y'all's defense, and what makes that defense just so obliterating?
Yeah, I think we can start with our D-line. They've done such a great job. Coach Newman, he really coaches them up. And kind of one guy to shout out on that is Joe Zavostowski, our D-end. He plays a huge role. He leads the county in sacks. He does a great job. And then you can't go past Alec Mock in the middle.
Right.
Standing at his 6'3", 235. He can run sideline to sideline. He's insane. And then in the secondary, we got a transfer in from AK this year, Malik Mustafa, who's just come in and really adapted to our culture, and has absolutely just dominated this year.
So, speaking of dominance, the last time you, as a team, played in a game that was either decided by one score or you guys lost was, like we said, September of last year against Catholic. I hate to ask this question, but I'm a huge Clemson fan.
Yeah.
You watch teams like Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, week in and week out, absolutely dominate. And sometimes I do get a little tired of just seeing this domination. Do you ever kind of wish, man, I wish this was a little bit closer, be a little bit more competitive, or are you having fun just sheer dominating?
Yeah, I think you can kind of go in between on that one.
Right.
It absolutely feels great to to dominate every game, to know that our preparation during the week has really paid off on Friday nights. But at the same time, I think in this playoff stretch that we're about to have, I think we're probably going to have some tougher competition, some closer games, and kind of for that side of things, that I wish we could have had one or two kind of close to get us prepared for this playoff stretch. But every week in practice, we go against the toughest team we're going to see, and that's one thing that was one of our goals at the beginning of the season is. We want to be our toughest competition. So I think we do a great job of that, and I think we'll be ready for any close game that comes.
Right, so you guys more so go about it where the only way Weddington's going to lose is if Weddington beats themselves.
Yes, sir.
It's the perfect way to go. So let's get into a little bit of recruiting. I don't know if you know, but they do call me Dabo Swinney Jr. from the Charlotte region.
That's great. Great.
So I may have to do a little pitch, but who knows. So your recruitment right now, really unknown. A lot of research was done on my end. Couldn't find anything other than the offers and the places that you're going. Are you having any time that, like a timetable where you're planning on narrowing it down, or are you just going to continue to enjoy the journey and the trips and the relationships you're able to build?
Yeah, I think that's one thing, my family kind of, decided at the beginning of this year was that, we're going to take this time during the season and explore all options.
Right.
And then, after my season ends, hopefully with the state championship, we're going to narrow it down to a smaller group of schools, and I'm going to be able to focus on just that group of schools and make a decision off of that.
So 2 weekends ago, you were in Clemson. This weekend, yesterday, you were at Georgia. Two schools with unbelievable, Clemson more so recent history, but Georgia, great history, great coaches. When you're going to a school, what are the factors that you and your family really try to take in? Is it more of the coaches, the atmosphere, the level of the team that is recruiting you? What are the main things that you're looking for?
So I think it's really a combination of all things. Not really one sticks its head out. I think academics plays a huge role.
Right.
Relationships with all the coaches. Coaches' stability, seeing, coaching staff is maybe on the hot seat or not. And then, also just how they use the running back, that plays a huge role, being an all-purpose back. I don't want to be inside the tackles,
right.
And, just take 25 carries a game, just straight up the middle.
Right.
I think, I have a bigger purpose than that. So really all those things go into it, and then obviously my parents, my brother, their perspective, their opinion also plays a huge role.
So speaking of how the running backs are used, 2 weekends ago you were at Clemson, like we said, and you saw Lynn J. Dixon and Travis Etienne. They both combined for 99 yards receiving, and they both had over 160 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Is that something where you're like, I want to be that. I want to be able to, like you said, come out of the backfield, run to the outside, but also running routes.
Yeah, it's obviously very impressive, just how successful their running backs have been. And, I think it helps Coach Elliott being the offensive coordinator, kind of being able to put his guys in the best possibility to, be successful. So, obviously, I mean, you look at it and you're like, wow, that's incredible. That's something that I want to do. And the way they, do their offense it's really just great to watch. But there's a lot of other things that go into it, other than just that. And I mean, a bunch of other schools, do the same thing as well.
So you called the Clemson offer prestigious.
Mm-hmm.
What about that offer made you say, man, this is really a prestigious offer?
I think they go to show that they have one of the best cultures in the nation. Just the team environment, the coaches environment, just all the relationships that the players have. It really is, one of the best in the nation. And just how successful they've been.
Right.
I think that kind of shows, how their culture is. Just things like that. It's awesome. That they've won 2 national championships. Possibly going to win a 3rd this year. That obviously plays a role in it as well.
So this is the last question I'll ask about Clemson, then we move on. Everybody sees Dabo Swinney, the guy before games, after wins,
Mm-hmm.
great talker, great coach. What's your relationship like with him and with Coach Elliott? And is he the same guy that he is on TV all the time?
Yeah, he really is. It's great to see someone that doesn't change for media or things like that. And I can say the same about Coach Elliott. But just being able to talk to Coach Swinney, Coach Elliott, in that environment, and then also out of that environment over the phone or something, and
right.
Kind of comparing the two, seeing what they're like on the field and out of the field. But I think both of those coaches, they absolutely carry themselves in such a great way, and I'm very blessed to have a relationship with both of them.
So, Adam Schefter, Rappaport, they were all hitting me up the past couple weeks. They knew you were coming on. They wanted to see some things that were going to be coming in college before the NFL. But some lesser people have also asked me some questions, people of my caliber.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, Connor Leonard, he wants to know how do you feel when you think of Notre Dame and when you go there knowing that you have an offer from one of the most just highly touted universities, regardless of football, in the entire nation?
Yeah, it's great. I'm very blessed to have all the options I do, but Notre Dame being so successful, in the classroom and also on the football field, I think with their culture, you can kind of compare it to Clemson's, a little bit,
right.
And just to see how successful they're being and doing it the right way, and then obviously Coach Taylor, he's a great relationship to have, being Coach Christian McCaffrey at 2 different levels, in the college level and in the NFL with the Panthers. Just being able to kind of pick his mind, to see what he thinks about my game film, other things like that. It's great.
So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to decide, because all the schools that really are coming after you, just have such a high profile, and they're going to have guys that are 5 stars and 4 stars in the backfield. If you had to choose between being able to go to a place in 4 years, all 4 years, you're the man, number 1 guy, but you win no national championships, or you could go to a place where you're going to be the man, but you're also going to be splitting touches, and say you get to win 1 or 2 national championships, do you have a choice that you would rather choose? Or
yeah, it's definitely something I've thought about, and national championships are great. I love winning. I'm very competitive, but we decided, my family and I decided kind of at the beginning of my recruitment that national championships weren't going to play a role in where I decided to go.
right.
And then me being as competitive as I am, obviously I want to go in at the beginning and make an impact. My freshman, sophomore year, and be able to carry that on through my junior and senior year. So if I really had to choose one, it would probably be the guy for 4 years and be left without a national championship.
Maybe you would get one too, being the guy for 4 years.
Yeah.
I'd hope so. An under the radar team, just necessarily name wise, when you stack up the big boys, you've got family ties to NC State. What's it been like with Coach Doran, and what is their atmosphere like there?
Yeah, I love that whole group. I've been in conversation with them for a while now. They were one of my early offers. And it's great. Every time we go there, my parents really enjoy it. I enjoy it. I speak to Coach Doran, Coach Kitchens. I'd say weekly now. Yeah. So just being able to have that relationship, and then obviously seeing the smile on my parents' face, it's great. But at the end of the day, I got to make a decision what's best for me. And if that's NC State, then great. But if it's not, then just got to move on.
So Michael Wayne O'Neill, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Union County, he gave me a phone call after my first video was posted, and such an amazing man, an unbelievable man of God. But him and Mike Farrell of Rivals have both compared you to one player by the name, he's not a household name, but Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, who knows him, right?
Yeah, not really too many people. Mike Farrell also said, the likes of Percy Harvin, in just the sense that, if there's something that needs to be done, you can do it. When you hear something like that, you're 17.
Yeah.
And you hear a comparison of Christian McCaffrey and Percy Harvin, even though Percy didn't really go on to do much in the NFL, he was still an unbelievable college athlete. What goes through your head, and do you model your game after anyone, or are you just trying to be Will?
Yeah, first of all, when they do compare me to people like that, it's great. I absolutely love just getting something like that from two people who know the game of football, and then talking about how I model my game. I've watched Percy Harvin in college, NFL. Same with Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
I studied both of their films, but I definitely try to incorporate some of their skills into my game, while at the same time trying to be Will Shipley.
Right.
I'm not gonna try to be exactly like Christian or exactly like Percy. I think something that's so important is being independent and just being yourself. Not trying to model your game after someone, and just being true to who you are.
When it comes to 40 years from now, when football is said and done, unless you are playing until you're 57, that would be quite phenomenal. What is your end goal with football? Do you want to be, one of the greatest people to ever, men? Do you want to go down as one of the greatest players? Do you want to go down as one of the most, what is your end goal when everything is said and done and football has to be moved on from?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm one of the most competitive people I would think on this planet. Seriously, I love winning. I love being the best. I'll do whatever it takes. So I want to be the greatest to ever play the game.
I do that, man.
Yeah, just putting it out there, and then I'm going to work my hardest to do that. But at the same time, I understand what's important, and football is not the only important thing in my life. I want to be known as a great person, a great family guy. Just someone who gives back to the people who have given to me, which has been so many people. I obviously can't give back to each of them individually, but just do as much as I can for my community, for other communities, and just really just keeping God first, and doing as He would do.
Your dad's sitting right here. When it comes to a father and a son's relationship, those bonds are always special. But when you spend so much time with one person, as I know y'all do, traveling each and every weekend, you haven't had a Saturday free and who knows how long. What is that relationship like, and how much has it helped you to have him supporting you 100% and not putting any pressure on you?
Yeah, I couldn't ask for a better relationship, honestly. And that doesn't just go from my recruiting, but ever since I was born, me and my dad have been very, very close, and he's tough on me in the classroom. Make sure I get all A's, and then on the field, you make sure I give 100% effort, 110% effort every time I'm out there. But to kind of move on to the recruiting portion, it's been so great to have someone there who's just got more knowledge, more years under his belt, just to be able to go to him with any problem, you know, ask him for advice, and you know he always has the right answer. It's great to have, you know, that block that, you know, can just always reassure you.
Yeah, I know my relationship with my dad is something that, you know, I would never trade for the world, and we spend so much time together. But you know, to experience the things that you guys get to do together, I can't imagine, and I know for as long as each of you guys will live, those are going to be memories that, you know, you wouldn't trade for the world. And so, one of the final thing actually I want to ask you, you may not want to give the answer, but for my Clemson supporters, we're playing some school in the state of South Carolina this upcoming weekend. Do you have any final score predictions?
Yeah, you know, I think both teams are great. You know, South Carolina, they pulled an upset off against Georgia.
Yeah,
you know,
really good team.
Yeah, one of the best teams in the nation. You know, probably one of the best defenses in the nation. But if I had to give a score prediction, it would probably be, I'd say, Clemson 42, South Carolina 7.
That's generous, folks. I'm going to go more on the 56-3 range, but he's got to be generous. I understand it. I actually do have one more question. There's a lot of guys that are at these schools that that have offered you that are committed. Do a lot of them reach out to you, like DJ at Clemson or any of these guys at the other school? Do they reach out to you and try to recruit you?
Yeah, you know, I have great relationships with so many people, you know, because of my recruiting, and I'm also very blessed for that. I've gotten to meet, you know, people all the way across, you know, the United States, you know, because of this, and you know, they're such great kids. You know, it's nice to be able to relate to somebody, you know, on a sense of like how much recruiting can impact your life, you know, how much time it can take away. But you know, to answer your question, yeah, you know, they obviously are, you know, trying to, you know, get me to sway here or there.
Right.
But it's great to have them doing that. You know that, you know, they're pulling for their school, which is awesome. You know, when I'm committed, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, right.
You know, but you know, as I said before, that's not really going to play a role in my recruitment. It's great to create those relationships and know if I commit to that school, then you know, I'll have them as a friend. You know, I'll have them as someone to be able to go to as a teammate. But it's not going to play a huge role.
Well, folks, we've sat down with 2021 nation's #1 all-purpose back, Will Shipley, giving us the dirty on that recruiting trail. And I hope that, you know, first off, the rest of your season goes phenomenal, and the end goal is obviously to put another ring on the finger.
Yes, sir.
But I look forward to your success, man.
Thank you.
And I hope we can get together again next season when hopefully you're in the same position you are, maybe committed somewhere. And I just really do appreciate it, man.
Oh, yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Welcome back to the hairless little man, me. So, folks, there it was, Will Shipley. Such a pleasure to have, you know, the best thing since water, the man out of water in the studio. As you guys can see, I had to remain a little calm there. I didn't want him to freak out and run away. But, you know, really appreciate this young man. One quick thing, two quick things. Go comment what I have to do since I lost. Oh! And then also go comment any topics you guys may want me to talk about. Give me something controversial, because you know, just like Colin Kaepernick, I'll go for it, man. And I'll give it to you. You little scoundrels, you. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this thing with your grandmama. Scoundrels, CB.